You're not invited. It's only for those who matter and VIPs. My sister laughed as she deleted my name from the group chat. My name is Olivia. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because the moment she stole my $5,200 and humiliated me in front of our family, I knew one thing. She may have just planned the party, but I was about to plan the ending. It was supposed to be a surprise birthday bash for our father. Elegant, heartfelt, unforgettable. I'd spent weeks coordinating with the vendors, negotiating the venue, putting down deposits. Every invoice had my name. Every dollar had come from my account. I poured in my savings like it meant something, because I thought it did. When I asked Sabrina about the final guest list, she barely looked up from her phone.
Don't worry about it.
We've got it covered. But then, hours later, I opened our family WhatsApp group.
Gone.
My name, gone. My messages, deleted. My role, erased. I asked her in front of everyone, what happened? She didn't even flinch. She just laughed and said, "Oh, Olivia, this is for people who matter. It's a VIP thing now." And just like that, I was disinvited from my own father's birthday party, the one I funded. Everyone else, they laughed. Even my father chuckled awkwardly and said, "Just let it go. Your sister knows what she's doing." I stood there, feeling the weight of every ignored effort, every time I had been the one in the background, the one cleaning up, stepping aside, making room. My throat tightened. My ears rang. But I didn't scream.
I didn't argue.
I just looked her dead in the eye and said, "Perfect." That night, while Sabrina posted sneak peek stories on Instagram, I opened my laptop. My heart pounded. My fingers were ice. But I didn't hesitate. I canceled the ballroom reservation, logged into the account with my credentials. Then the caterer. I sent an email. "We no longer require services. Please confirm cancellation." The decorator. The string quartet. The cake order with the gold fondant ribbon. One by one, I shut it all down. The last thing I did? I messaged every invited guest personally. "Hi, just letting you know the event for Mr. Patterson's birthday has been postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. Sorry for the change." No one questioned it. No one suspected. Not even her. The next morning, the sun rose like it always does. Sabrina got ready like it was her wedding day. Silk dress, designer heels, makeup artist at home. I stayed in my pajamas, sipping tea, scrolling through her countdown posts with quiet calm. Then my phone buzzed. Once. Then again. And again. She was calling. Then our mom. Then our cousin Danielle. I didn't answer, because by the time they arrived at the venue, the doors were locked, the lights were off, the parking lot was empty, and on the most important day she thought she owned, only one person showed up. And it wasn't who she expected. Growing up, I was always the helper, the fixer, the quiet shadow that held the house together. And she, Sabrina, was the favorite. She was beauty, charm, chaos. I was routine, effort, apologies. She lit fires. I put them out. When we were 8, she told our neighbor I'd broken their window. I hadn't.
She had.
But when my parents asked and I said nothing, she stood there with big innocent eyes and let me take the blame. By 13, I was the one who made dinner while our mom worked double shifts. Sabrina? She borrowed mom's lipstick and snuck out with boys twice her age. She got caught stealing from mom's purse to buy shoes. She cried, pouted, promised it was just once. They hugged her. I got a lecture about being more supportive. By the time we hit high school, I worked at a diner after school to afford my own prom dress. Sabrina's? She wore a $900 gown that friend paid for. Later I found out mom had sold her engagement ring to cover it. The same cycle played into adulthood. When dad had his stroke, I moved back home to take care of him. I cleaned him up, fed him, drove him to therapy 3 times a week. I even took freelance remote work just to stay nearby. Sabrina? She flew to Cancun the next morning and posted selfies at an infinity pool with a caption, "Life is short. Be legendary." And yet, when she walked into a room, people smiled. When I walked in, They handed me a trash bag or asked if I'd bring more ice. I didn't mind being useful, but I did mind being invisible. This birthday was supposed to be different. A surprise party I planned not just to honor Dad, but maybe to reclaim a little space for myself. To finally be seen. I thought if I worked hard enough, if I created something beautiful enough, they'd notice. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'd say, "I'm proud of you." But Sabrina beat me to it. Or rather, she stole her way in like she always had. She took the funds, hijacked the plans, and turned it into her show. Then she deleted me from the group chat like I was an intern who had served her purpose. Not even a thank you. Not even a let's talk about it. Just a smirk. She used me like a donor, and erased me like I never existed. The worst part wasn't that she excluded me. It was that no one else cared. Not my mother. Not my aunts. Not even Dad, the man I fed, lifted, cleaned, and carried for the last 11 months. But this time, I wasn't going to just disappear into the kitchen or the background. I wasn't going to beg for space at a table I paid for. If they couldn't remember who I was, I'd make sure they never forgot what I did. It started with the receipts. I wasn't snooping, just organizing. After she kicked me out of the planning group, I decided to tidy up my email confirmations. That's when I noticed something strange. The banquet hall, the one I'd paid the $2,000 deposit for, was no longer showing under my login. When I clicked Forgot Password, it said the recovery email had been changed. I called the venue. Calmly. Professionally. The woman on the line checked the file and said, "Oh, your sister Sabrina already informed us. She's the new primary contact." I blinked. Did she make any additional payments? She hesitated.
No.
"We still have your deposit, but she said you transferred the event to her." I didn't. I hung up, my heart pounding, and called the florist next. Same story. Then the decorator. The photographer. Even the bakery I'd selected for Dad's cake, a 3-tiered masterpiece with his favorite chessboard design. Each vendor now had Sabrina listed as the client. But the payments? Still under my name. My card. My money. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just exclusion. This wasn't just another cruel sibling stunt. She was stealing the event, rebranding it, making it hers. She was parading around like the orchestrator of a perfect, luxurious celebration, riding high on money she didn't earn and credit she didn't deserve. Later that day, I overheard her on the phone with one of her cousins. "I planned the whole thing," she said proudly. "Dad's going to lose it." I even added a champagne toast. "You'll see. I'm practically his legacy." I nearly dropped the dish in my hand. That word, legacy. That wasn't just ego. That was erasure. She didn't just want the spotlight. She wanted to replace me in the story. For years, she'd taken the praise, the attention, the warmth that should have been shared. But this time, she wasn't just taking what was mine. She was rewriting the narrative so I didn't exist at all. And the worst part? They were letting her. No one asked, "Where's Olivia?" No one said, "She did all the work." No one questioned how the girl who hadn't paid a dime was suddenly the host of a $5,000 event. But I've always been the quiet one, the helper, the invisible engine. And quiet doesn't mean powerless. It means focused.
Precise.
Deadly when underestimated. She wanted me to vanish from the room, then I'd vanish. But not before flipping the table she set with my money. At midnight, while the rest of the house slept in smug satisfaction, I opened my laptop. I had every receipt, every invoice, every confirmation email, neatly saved, categorized, time-stamped. I started with the biggest piece, the banquet hall. I called the manager directly. He recognized my name. "You're the one who made the initial booking, correct?" "Yes," I replied, calm and clear. "And I'm canceling it. Effective immediately." He paused, confused. "But your sister." "She isn't on the contract." "I am."
Click.
Then came the caterer. I drafted a short, polite email. "Hello. Due to a change in plans, we will no longer require your services for the Patterson event. Kindly confirm cancellation and refund processing as per our agreement.
Send.
The decorator?
Same.
The custom cake? Cancelled. Refund requested. The violinist? Released from duty. I moved through each task like a surgeon, quiet, focused, deliberate. No rage. No drama.
Just business.
Then I took a breath, opened the old invite list, and typed one message to every guest. Dear friends and family, due to an unexpected situation, the birthday celebration has been postponed. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Further updates will be shared soon. I sent it to every contact, one by one. No explanation. No elaboration. Just a silent closing of the curtain. Except for one person. Uncle Raymond. He wasn't just family. He was sharper than anyone in our bloodline. A respected attorney with a memory like steel and a spine like stone. He was also the only person who had ever looked at me like I wasn't just a background piece in the family puzzle. I told him everything. Every dollar. Every deception. Every time Sabrina rerouted a vendor using my funds and called it hers. He didn't interrupt. Didn't react. When I was done, I stared at the screen, waiting for some kind of outrage. Instead, he typed back 5 words. Be at the venue tomorrow. And then one more. Just watch. I sat back in my chair, heart thudding. My fingers trembled, not from fear, but from release. For the first time in years, I wasn't the one cleaning up after someone else's mess. I was rewriting the story. And this time, the ending would be mine. The morning sun rose like nothing had happened. It was my father's birthday. And Sabrina? She looked like she was heading to the Oscars. Sequin gown. Fresh gel nails. Designer heels. A beauty team had been at the house since 6 a.m. prepping her like she was the guest of honor. No, the queen of the celebration. She even set up her phone on a mini tripod for a live stream. Can't wait for y'all to see the magic I planned, she whispered into the camera, blowing a kiss to her followers. The family piled into 3 cars, all dressed to impress. Laughter. Lipstick. Loud music. I didn't go. I stayed home, in my robe, with a hot cup of tea and a front row seat to poetic justice. It didn't take long. They arrived at the banquet hall and found the gates locked. The lights were off. No greeters. No valet. No welcome sign. Just an echoing silence no one could ignore. Sabrina froze. Her phone still rolling live. What the? She whispered, yanking at the door handles like they'd magically spring open. She started calling vendors. The caterer. The DJ. The florist. No answers. Just cold rings and missed calls. A few guests began trickling into the parking lot, all dressed in tuxedos and heels. They looked around, confused. One by one, they pulled out their phones. Didn't you get the message? One cousin said, scrolling. It says it's been postponed. Sabrina snatched the phone from her, her painted nails trembling. Who sent this? Every guest had gotten the same thing. Event postponed due to unforeseen circumstances. We'll update soon. Within the hour, they were all standing in an empty lot. No decorations. No music. No table settings or speeches. Just whispers. Judgment. Confusion. And beneath it all, embarrassment. Cold and loud. And then a final car pulled in. A sleek black sedan. The door opened slow. Uncle Raymond. Crisp gray suit. Folder in hand. Calm as ever, like a judge walking into court. He stepped out, his voice loud enough for the crowd. Is Olivia here? Everyone turned. Sabrina's lip quivered. She's not here, she stammered. He raised an eyebrow. Interesting. Because she owns the event contract. She paid the vendors. And she canceled it, as is her legal right.
People gasped.
Sabrina looked like a statue, glassy-eyed, stiff, stunned. Uncle Raymond opened the folder slowly. You rerouted funds. Misrepresented authority. That's called misappropriation. He handed her a printed invoice breakdown. Unless you repay the full amount immediately, you're looking at a formal complaint. Civil, possibly criminal, depending on intent. Silence. Complete, cutting silence. No live stream. No clapping. Just a frozen girl in glitter, exposed in front of the very people she tried to impress. And there I was, not even present, but louder than ever. The only person who showed up? The one who mattered. Back at home, all hell broke loose. Sabrina stormed in first, heels in hand, makeup streaked from sweat and panic. "You embarrassed me," she screamed. "You ruined everything." I didn't flinch. I didn't raise my voice. I just slid the folder across the table.
Smooth.
Final. Like the closing scene of a courtroom drama. Receipts. Contracts. Emails. Payment confirmations.
Proof.
"I cancel what I paid for," I said calmly. "You try to sell my work as your own." She stood there, panting, shaking, looking for something to break. But there was nothing left. Mom came in next, holding her purse like a shield. She opened her mouth to say something, probably her usual line. "Let's not overreact." But this time she said nothing, just sat down slowly, her eyes darting between us. Then Dad wheeled in from the hallway, still weak from his last round of therapy. His voice was quieter than it used to be, but it landed like thunder. "Sabrina, is this true?" She didn't deny it. She broke. The glittering goddess, the self-made legacy, the birthday queen, collapsed right there on the couch, sobbing into her hands. She blamed stress. She blamed pressure. She blamed me. "She's always trying to ruin me," she wailed. "You all never saw how manipulative she is." But no one was buying it anymore. Mom didn't even move to comfort her, just stared at the carpet like it was telling her a story she'd ignored for too long. Dad looked tired, disappointed, maybe even embarrassed. I said nothing more. I didn't need to, because the real damage wasn't in the cancellation. It was in the exposure. By evening, the family group chat, the one I'd been kicked out of, was dead. People quietly exited, one by one. Word spread.
Fast.
Our aunts, cousins, church friends. They all heard what happened, that Sabrina used my money, deleted my name, and ended up hosting a party no one showed up to. Her image? Shattered. Her influencer page dropped 1,200 followers in less than 24 hours. Her last post, the one about planning Dad's perfect day, was filled with comments. "Liar. Tell the real story. Stealing your sister's shine isn't cute." She tried damage control. She posted a teary apology video with the caption, "We all make mistakes." But no one was buying it. Her sponsors pulled back. Collaborations vanished. The invitations stopped coming. Her world wasn't just unraveling. It was collapsing. And not because I shouted or cursed or exposed her online.
No.
It was collapsing because I refused to stay erased. Because I let her build her empire on my back and then calmly walked away, taking every brick I laid with me. And without me, she had nothing but glitter and dust. 2 months later, I launched my own event planning service. No big signs. No flashy PR. Just a simple name, a clean website, and a promise. Beautiful things done right. Guess who helped me get started? Uncle Raymond. He showed up one morning with a binder full of legal templates, a list of reliable vendors, and a small card that just said, "Quiet justice is the loudest kind." My first booking was a baby shower. Modest, cozy, but filled with heart. I cried in the car after setting up the final table. Not because it was perfect, but because I had built it with my own 2 hands. No one's shadow over me, no one else taking credit. Then came a gallery opening. A birthday brunch. A small wedding for a couple who just wanted joy without drama. With every event, I proved something, not to others, but to myself. I was not invisible. I was not weak. I was not the forgotten sister. I was not the helper who existed only to make someone else shine. I was capable, strategic, resilient, and finally free. I didn't flaunt my success. I didn't post about it online or rub it in anyone's face. I just worked quietly and let my reputation speak for me. Words spread in circles that used to ignore me. A florist I used to beg for quotes now called me directly, asking to collaborate. A venue manager sent me referrals saying, "We've heard you're reliable. You do things right." Then one afternoon, Dad showed up. No announcement. Just walked into my tiny office with his hat in his hands. He looked smaller than I remembered. He placed an envelope on my desk without saying a word. Inside, a handwritten note and a check. "I'm sorry I didn't see what was happening," it read. "I thought I was watching two daughters grow up. I didn't realize one was being buried under the other." I didn't cry. I didn't hug him. I just nodded. I forgave him. Not because he said the right words, but because I was done carrying their blindness, their silence, their inability to see the worth in quiet strength. Forgiveness wasn't for him. It was for me to stop dragging their weight into rooms I now owned. Sabrina? I hadn't heard from her. Her socials went dark. Word was she moved to another city, trying to rebrand. I didn't care. She could reinvent herself 1,000 times.
But I
wasn't reinventing anything. I was just finally being who I always was, without apology, without erasure. 6 months later, I hosted my biggest event yet, a charity gala for underprivileged students. The same banquet hall, the same date, a new reason. This time, it wasn't about status or applause. It was about giving kids a moment to feel like royalty, to be seen, celebrated, and poured into, the way I had always wished someone would do for me. Vendors didn't ghost me anymore. They greeted me with handshakes and respect. Every detail was polished. Golden candlelight, string music, a 3-course meal plated like art. And this time, I was the name on every document, every invoice, every introduction. The hall buzzed with joy, laughter, gratitude. And I stood by the door. No gown, no spotlight, just a clipboard and a soft smile, watching it all unfold like a dream I'd waited years to wake into. A woman passed by, her daughter clinging to her arm in a dress 2 sizes too big. She looked around the room, eyes wide with wonder, then turned to a volunteer and asked, "Who planned all this?" The volunteer didn't hesitate. She just pointed and said, "Her. Olivia." I'll never forget the look the woman gave me. Not admiration, not awe, just quiet recognition. The kind you give someone who finally took up space and earned it. Sabrina? No one had seen her in weeks. Rumor was she tried to launch a new influencer brand in another city. It didn't land. Her last known scandal involved an unpaid brand deal and a public call-out post that went viral, not in the way she hoped. She unfollowed me months ago, and I never looked back, because by then, I wasn't the helper anymore. I wasn't the scapegoat, or the sidekick, or the forgotten older sister. I was the builder, the host, the name behind the invitation. And this time, the invitation had my logo on it. As the music swelled and the children danced under fairy lights, I walked to the back of the room, near the same double doors she once locked me out of. I rested my hand on the handle. I remembered how cold it had felt that day, locked, closed, unwelcoming.
Now,
it was warm, because the people inside had come not for power, not for show, but for purpose. And I had given it to them. In the end, I didn't need revenge that screamed. I just needed silence loud enough to echo truth. And the truth? I was never late to the celebration. I was never forgotten. I was just postponed. They told me I didn't matter, that I wasn't VIP. But when I stood in that full room, I realized I was the only one who didn't need an invite, because I made the space.